talk to you about what I personally think is the most ridiculous hate campaign I have seen in years. And it's a hate campaign that spreads throughout the years. The hate campaign of PlayStation just needing to do better. Now, for the record, do I think Sony is doing great? No, I think they have been slouching when it comes to certain things. Last year was a very good example of them just kind of resting on the fact they're the biggest console platform out there. So, yes, they were being lazy last year. But if you look at what they have been talking about this year, it's insane. We are talking 2 mobile games in development, a giant first-party multiplayer game coming out, and Horizon Hunting Gathering. Then you got games like Marathon. Then you got the deal they have brokered with Arc Systems and Marvel to get Marvel Tokens Soul made. Then you also have Ghosts of Yotei Legends mode. Then you just had the stealth drop of God of War Ghosts of Sparta. Then you have Marvel's Wolverine this year. Then you have Soros this year. And then you got probably some other game they have been working on they haven't told us about. All on top of another year where they've been getting multi-platform exclusives. Well, multi-platform is a kind of a weird way to put it, but the better way to put it is timed exclusive games. Games like Kena Bridge of Spirits 2. I call it Bridge of Spirits 2, but it's just called, I really should call it Kena 2. Or games like Phantom Blade Zero. These are games that Sony has either had hands in help developing or are financing. And yet, for whatever reason, I hear people say Sony needs to do more. When I look at the other competition, when I look at the other companies, let me ask you a sincere question. What is Nintendo doing? What is Nintendo doing that is innovating or changing the franchises in a positive direction? Hell, what is Nintendo doing that's been positive lately? You have the controversy going on with Pokemon Pokepia, where previews have been positive about it because those previews were basically done under, to put it best, very, intense situation, where developers were literally looking over people's shoulders and making sure that they play a certain, way. And also, it was only 2 hours of a, assumingly, multi-hour game. So, you have that. Then you have Nintendo kind of being radio silent when it comes to their big games. So, already, I think Nintendo has been slouching. But no one's going to say that, right? No one's going to say Nintendo has been resting on the success of the Switch 1. No one's going to say that. No one's going to talk about how Xbox's games this year, while there's a lot of them, also kind of seem like they're kind of falling by the wayside. It seems like every game Microsoft puts out this, in the recent years, has kind of been falling by the wayside. Very few of their games actually stick out. Hell, their own beloved Master Chief is not immune from controversy and some questionable changes in the Master Chief campaign involved. Then you have stuff like freaking, the Fallout series kind of been butchered because of, Bethesda, but that Bethesda's different from Microsoft. I consider them still kind of like their weird little entity. So yeah, I get all these freaking people sitting here going, PlayStation needs to do this, PlayStation needs to do that. And yet, when Sony's actually trying to do new things and branch out certain IPs and taking in more of the publisher role, no one gives them credit for that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say don't give them credit where credit is due, but can we acknowledge the fact that they have been brokering deals? They've been going around the industry, lending out their IPs for either ports to other consoles, like in the case of Loco Roco. If you recall, they've got some kind of deal going with Bandai Namco to put those on other platforms, those obscure Japan studio titles that probably only a handful of us actually remember. No one gives them credit for that. No one gives them credit for having, really, at the end of the day, 3 big games come out this year, and they are either new IPs altogether in Soros, or they're a huge IP like Marvel's Wolverine, or it's an IP they've brokered a deal with that actually got people excited in the case of Marvel Token Soul. No one talks about this. No one gives them credit where credit is due. And I'm kind of just in this camp of, wow. I can't believe that the gaming community has such a hate boner for Sony that if a character design comes out and people don't like it, they automatically say the game is worthless, we're not buying it, period. The game could fundamentally be perfect. It could be the best Monster Hunter type game in Hunter's Gathering. And people will look at one character fucking design and sit there and go, but I'm not going to buy because of that. I think this is pathetic. I think really at the end of the day, the gaming community has a hate boner for Sony. I really think that. And it's because I don't think people actually want to be happy. Prime example of all this is God of War Sons of Sparta. This game got stealth dropped. There was not even an announcement trailer or anything. It was just stealth dropped and then it was announced. And guess what? People still found a way to complain about the game. They still found a way to sit there and go, it's not really original. It's not really capturing the spirit of God of War. We wanted a big game. We wanted a big AAA, caliber God of War game to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Or just a PS2 version port on the PS5 of the original God of War. So they either want the laziest thing possible or something that's very unreasonable to ask for a studio that is already working on other games that we know about. So what's Sony do? They find the perfect middle ground. They find a studio that's like, hey, we want to work on a God of War game, and we want to get Santa Monica's blessing to do it. Guess what? Santa Monica gave them the blessing. More than gave them their blessing. They actually fucking gave them 3D character models from the original God of War games, and said, hey, if you want to use that and somehow put that in like some kind of the game you're working on, go ahead, do it. You have our permission. You have our blessing to do it. And yet, No one's going to give Sony credit for that. No one's going to give Sony credit for actually lending out their IPs to studios that actually seem to give a shit about what the IPs mean to them. Hell, no one's going to give them credit for financing and backing Amber Labs, which I'm telling you right fucking now is a underrated studio that you need to keep your fucking eyes on. Because if you are looking for that next Jack and Daxter, you are looking for the next Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper caliber game, there you go. Follow Amber Labs. But no one's going to give them credit for that. No one's going to give them credit for actually, finding a developer that's actually good at what they do. No, because all it is at the end of the day, it's a hate campaign. It's just find one negative and just lambast it into oblivion. Am I sitting here saying Sons of Sparta is like the best game ever? No, but it seems like people are being way too harsh on this game while still pumping up games in a similar category like Hollow Knight Silksong, which is like, great, cool, I can understand. That's a better game. 100% great, it's a better game. But it seems like whenever Sony does something, also these people develop a higher standard. They develop higher standards for their games. And it's like, if Microsoft or Nintendo or Konami or Bandai Namco or freaking Square Enix put this out, you guys would suck this game off like it was your fucking job. But because it's Sony, all of a sudden, you've got standards. All of a sudden, things are just like not meeting your standards. Meanwhile, you still sit there and bitch and moan about how, oh, you don't get the big AAA games efficient enough, not knowing that the big AAA games take fucking time. And then whenever Sony does experimental stuff with their IPs or, a multiplayer game, you don't even give it a chance because of one fucking character design. Or, oh, it's a live service game and I don't like live service. Meanwhile, they sit there, go buy fucking Call of Duty every fucking year and keep playing Fortnite every fucking year. But hey, don't point out the obvious. Don't acknowledge, the actual fact that people are biased as hell. And it's hilarious when they hold Sony to a higher standard, but when it comes to fucking Nintendo, Microsoft, and all the other publishers, all suddenly those standards are gone. They've disappeared. So yeah, that was just me ranting and rambling. I apologize if this came off as me being a pony, but I'm just being honest here. I feel that this hate campaign for Sony is ridiculous. I think Sony has become a victim of actually being successful, actually innovating, actually doing stuff with their IPs, instead of just doing nothing and giving you the bare minimum. They actually seem like they are trying to give you a quality experience, but no one's going to give them the credit for that. No one's going to give them the credit that they are still making big AAA games. They're still making the side stuff, the freaking, the little spin-off projects, the multiplayer projects. Listen, I get it. It's not what you want. But you know what? Maybe you at least try it. Maybe you at least try it before you chalk it up to as a failure. Because what's the worst case scenario? You're out a couple bucks. Buddy, I hate to tell you this, and this is the key to life. Money will always come. Money will always be there. You can always make money. You can always make $1. I'm just pointing out. So, until next time, guys, this is me kind of being a pony. Self-admitted, I'm being a little bit of a pony. But at the same time, it is how I feel about the whole situation. So, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube algorithm BS.